My name is Ryan Walker, and this happened just outside Phoenix, Arizona. 5 years ago, after retiring from the Marine Corps, I bought a small ranch bordering the upscale Desert Canyon Estate subdivision. My property sat outside the HOA boundaries, but my driveway connected to the same public road as the neighborhood. I chose the place because I wanted peace. No crowded streets, no noisy neighbors, just open desert, horses, and quiet evenings. Unfortunately, the HOA had different plans. A year after I moved in, Karen Dawson became HOA president. Karen believed the HOA controlled everything within sight of the subdivision. She dictated mailbox designs, fence colors, tree heights, even what vehicles residents could park in their driveways. Then one afternoon she noticed my workshop. Inside sat my restored military Humvee. It wasn't operational on public roads. It stayed inside my private barn, but Karen decided it lowered neighborhood property values. A week later, I found an HOA violation notice taped to my gate. It demanded I remove the Humvee within 10 days or face daily fines. I laughed. My ranch wasn't inside the HOA. I ignored the letter. Then another arrived. Then another. Soon they claimed I owed nearly $8,000 in fines. I mailed every notice back with copies of my recorded property survey showing my land wasn't part of their subdivision. That should have ended everything. Instead, Karen doubled down. During an HOA meeting, she announced my property had become a public nuisance. She convinced several board members that if I refused to cooperate, they had the authority to remove the vehicle themselves. That statement would become very expensive. 3 weeks later, just after sunrise, my security cameras alerted me to movement outside. 4 pickup trucks entered my driveway. 14 men climbed out. Some carried crowbars. Others had bolt cutters. One even had a portable battering ram. Karen stood behind them wearing sunglasses and holding a clipboard. She looked directly into my security camera and smiled. "This ends the day." They marched toward my front porch. One man shouted, "Open the door. HOA inspection." I remained inside, calm, watching every camera feed. Another man struck my front door with a battering ram. The impact echoed through the house. Then another. Then another. What they didn't realize, every second was being recorded by 12 high-definition security cameras connected to cloud storage. I calmly picked up my phone, not to confront them, to call the county sheriff. I have multiple individuals attempting to force entry into my occupied home. The dispatcher asked one question. Are they law enforcement? No. Deputies are on the way. Meanwhile, Karen ordered the men to keep going. The solid oak door began cracking under repeated impacts. One of the men yelled, "The HOA authorized this." No, they hadn't. About 6 minutes later, the sound of sirens echoed across the valley. The battering stopped instantly. Sheriff's deputies arrived with lights flashing. Every man stepped away from my porch. Karen confidently approached the deputies. "We're enforcing HOA regulations." The deputy looked confused. "Does this homeowner belong to your HOA?" Karen hesitated. "No, but his property affects our community." The deputy turned toward me as I walked outside carrying my property survey. I handed him the documents. He reviewed them for less than 30 seconds, then looked back at Karen. "This property is completely outside your HOA." Her smile disappeared. The deputies immediately separated everyone for questioning. Security footage was reviewed on scene. It clearly showed the group attempting forced entry into an occupied residence. One deputy quietly asked me, "You're the homeowner?" "Yes." "You handled this exactly right." Within the hour, several participants admitted Karen told them the HOA had legal authority to enter my property. They believed her. Unfortunately for Karen, ignorance isn't a legal defense. Detectives later recovered emails showing Karen organized the entire operation days earlier. She instructed volunteers to bring enough people to remove resistance. Those words quickly became evidence. The county prosecutor filed charges related to criminal trespass, attempted unlawful entry, conspiracy, and property damage. Civil lawsuits followed. My insurance company paid to replace the damaged front door and security system upgrades. Then they sued the HOA to recover every dollar. My attorney filed additional claims for property damage, emotional distress, and attorney fees. The HOA's insurance carrier refused coverage. Their policy specifically excluded intentional illegal acts. Karen suddenly found herself personally responsible. Legal expenses exceeded $600,000 before the case even reached trial. Homeowners became furious after learning HOA dues would increase to cover unrelated legal costs. At the next election, Karen lost by the largest margin in community history. Several board members resigned with her. A few of the men she recruited even sued Karen, claiming she misrepresented the HOA's authority and exposed them to criminal charges. Months later, the court entered judgment against Karen and the HOA. They paid for every repair, every legal bill, every investigation, every damage camera, every hour of attorney time. As for me, life returned to normal. The Humvee still sits inside my workshop exactly where it has always been. Sometimes new neighbors ask if the story is true. I simply point toward my rebuilt front porch, then smile, because one thing never changes. Real authority comes from the law, not from a clipboard. If you enjoyed this HOA story, don't forget to subscribe, and turn on notifications for more unbelievable battles where overconfident HOA boards discover that private property rights always come first.